Welcome to today's episode with me, Johnny Pardo, and today I welcome Michelle Bishop to the show. So, just a quick introduction to Michelle. So, Michelle is a master certified life coach and author of Choose You First. She helps women reclaim their lives after adversity by embracing self love and building inner resilience. Through coaching, workshops, and speaking, she empowers clients to shed limiting beliefs, strengthen self worth, and create lives filled with joy and purpose. Welcome to the show today, Michelle. Glad to have you on and make it happen today.
Johnny, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Me too, me too, and very, very keen on this subject, of course, with the whole theme of self-love. It's really, really important for me, and it sounds like it is for you as well. Obviously, working in this space. So, yeah. First of all, I just want to dive a little bit into the title of your book and really the meaning, what that means for you in terms of choosing you first, and maybe a little bit about what's the book about.
Well, truly, it didn't just come to me. I believe in the experience of the journey. And so many people said, why didn't you do this back then? And I was like, because I didn't know this is where I was going to land. And when I came up with Choose You First, it was really about the journey of my life and the life of so many other people in similar circumstances and different circumstances that always seem to put everyone in front of their own needs.
Mm,
And often, from a marketing perspective, media, they make the idea of choose you first as a selfish thing. But essentially, it really is selfless because if you are taking care of you first, you can give so much more to others around you. It can be endless. But if you're not basically feeding all of those nurturing things, such as your health, mental, physical, your nutrition, your finances, and you're putting everything out to everyone, then it leaves you empty. And so
mm,
that was a real motivation for me that was simple, but so important that people understand the selflessness of choosing you first and how much more and bountiful not only your life could be, but the life of others.
I'm with you on the it's the selfless act because yeah, certainly when I've been in my worst like times or just not when I really didn't like myself, like, and I used to be really hard on myself. I know I drain even though I didn't want to, like drain the energy of others. I wasn't having that impact. I wasn't a good example to other people, so I totally resonate. And I know having coached people through this as well, that's something they're looking to do. They're wanting to be that example for others by looking after themselves and then working on their confidence as well. And yeah, it's so much harder I found to go through life when you like got this constant like pulling yourself down and you're not training it or doing the work on it to actually being that example and actually contributing. So love what you said about the word selfless instead of it being portrayed sometimes as selfish. That's a really, really
Well,
cool
it's
one.
interesting about you saying in your head. I always say the longest course that we run is the racket on the track within ourself,
Mm,
which is right there in that head. And so we get to choose what we will accept and what we won't accept by our
mm,
own actions. And the brain is so amazing when you recognize how much information that we get. Like I'm talking, the data is just constantly flowing through visually, senses, through every sense. And from there, it's so easy to skew, and you think that you're pleasing someone, but our self is really about energy. And even though you might be pleasing someone, if you don't have that energy and you're sidetracked with the racket in your head and you've got all those voices, you're not really giving what you think you're giving. And it's very interesting how that energy will be received. I'll use an example. If there is, and I'm going to use it really simple, there is a offering that somebody says, "Oh, I really need your help. Can you please buy these cookies for me?" And you're like, "Oh, I hate to say no, but I only have X amount of dollars to feed my own children, but this feels bad." And they prioritize it because they think they're pleasing someone else, but they literally took from their family to help somebody else in the moment because they're running the racket. So they're on this track that is not letting them look long term. They're looking at immediate doing these things. And then those things add up. And I am a firm believer that we make the biggest impacts within ourselves by the smallest little pivot within ourselves.
Mm, mm. And
Pretty deep.
with that racket that's going on in the mind, because you could get lots of things. I hear people say things like overwhelm, overthinking, um, very like that inner critic, all these kind of things, and that noise going on in the head. Where can someone begin? Perhaps the individual who's just like, oh, there's so much noise going on, I don't know how to shut it up.
Johnny, that is a great question. That noise never shuts up,
Mm,
but you can make it quieter. And that's the key. And so I have found personally the best way to start is a very simple move of being still and just take a breath. And I love to use the mantra to always breathe in what will serve you and blow out all that won't. Breathe in and breathe out. Sometime, and it chemically changes things within a body, the blood pressure, the serotonins, all of these things that happen just by the simplicity of breath. And I will tell you, in the action and activity of today and all the stimulants, sometimes that racket is really darn loud. And it might be as simple as just taking a couple of breaths. And sometimes it'll take longer than that. So you have to give yourself grace and patience to kind of just get into a centered mindset and enjoying the breath of life. It is breathing in life and releasing all that doesn't serve you. So, and it's an essential part of everything, and everyone can do it. Everyone. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
mm. And not like an overnight, suddenly it's going to change everything, right?
I think anyone that would speak to anyone to say, I have all the answers and you're going to be fixed with that is full of baloney.
Mm, I'm with
You
you.
have to choose to fix yourself, and it's all about the journey. It's
Mm,
not about the destination. We will never reach the destination, but we sure can have enjoy the journey in it. And I work on it every day. And I get to do that. You get to do that. Everyone gets that choice, which is a
mm,
powerful thing. And it's not that you have to do it, that you want to do that for yourself, for others. And it can be as simple as just making small steps of changes. I mean, I can tell you that tragedy has, it will always occur in some form in everyone's life. It's how we respond to that. And sometimes it takes a while. And like I said, to give oneself grace and patience is really loving yourself in that simple act of in the moment. and we're trying to get this immediate fix. Come on,
Mm,
get it, give it to
yeah.
me. I want this one, two, three. And the reality in life is there's nothing that's just one, two, three and perfect. We are perfect in our own imperfections. And that's a real peaceful spot to be in.
Mm. Perfect in your own perfections. Love it.
Perfect in your own imperfections.
Mm. I like what you said about the breath and that being a really powerful one to kind of like bring you back. For me, that's been a big game changer as well over the years. As well, like to work through that kind of when the body's a bit like, and then a bit like tense or stressed and things like that. You've always got that breath. They even talking about the weekend. They were saying it's always bringing you back to that present moment. So I like the fact you brought up the breath as well. You also touched on something. You said I get to do this, like the phrase I get to, and sounded like some very empowering language to me when I heard you say that. I just want to touch on a little bit. How have you found like the power of it's just something I've like observed and I've been really conscious even recently, like hanging out with a new mastermind and people like always like looking to meet new people and that kind of thing. And words and sentences and questions have been like highlighted to me how vital they are, like how the importance of the words and the questions. For you, has have you noticed anything along those lines? I'm just curious about how your words can impact how you feel.
Absolutely. I've endured physical and mental and emotional abuse at the
Mm,
hands of another. And I think the longest healing has been driven through the words that have been spoken because the words resonated in my own brain and it was the self-talk in which I spoke. And now getting through that, and like I said, to get to work and enjoy life in the work. It's amazing
mm,
how much joy you can experience. And you're attracting like-minded people through that energy, which just continues to charge you and recharge you. And in that self-talk of positivity, uh, you know, I'm not positive every moment of every day. We all have dips.
mm,
And that's why I say, hey, it's okay. You know, this is life. Take your moment, but don't dwell in it. Don't exist in it. Choose you first to live your best you, which says, I will not stay in this moment. I don't know where I'm going to go, but I'm going to definitely not remain. And so within the breath, within self-talk of small movements, you end up then reflecting back over time and go, wow, I accomplished that. I'm like, and this is who I am. So it's not a fake it till you make it deal. There might be some of that in the beginning. I accept that. But the reality is that when you really embrace it within yourself, that this is who I am, I accept myself. I am not perfect, but I am all of these things of kindness, love, happiness, joy, the things that matter so much to others matter to you too. And so you're living it, and it's not a fake it till you make it. It is your reality.
mm. It is you. So it's you're saying it kind of like that is you. It can be you. It's just about getting in touch with that.
Yes, it is. And that takes work. I mean,
Mm,
like I said, I didn't do it alone. It
mm,
takes a community. And so a lot of it is your own choices to seek out resources. Um, both you and I are coaches, and I think that I really gravitated towards coaching. I'd been in therapy, I've been with psychologists, I've been with psychiatrists, and everyone has their own profession. And I do not claim to be able to answer any type of medical or, psychotherapy. I love to help others attain what they're seeking for themselves, that I can help guide them in their own discovery of who they are, what they want for themselves. That is so wonderful. And you have to have a certain skill set as well as education, and you need to take that with true commitment to wanting to be part of this person's finding their way, not just like hanging a shingle and here I am.
Mm,
And so I've done a lot of training, like you said with Tony Robbins as well as Shanda Sumter. I mean, I'm always about my own self journey so that I can be best for everyone else as well.
mm.
The
Always
great
on the
thing.
journey. Always on
Yeah.
the journey. Not like a
Yes.
destination. It's
Yeah.
never ending. Love that. Yeah, you mentioned about community as well, and I kind of just wanted to touch on that and the role of being coach because I've got like men's groups I'll sit with just to kind of like share emotions and support each other and done lots of somatic work and things like that for me personally. I know we all go through different things, and you said that you've got like there's therapy, there could be like coaching, which is different. All these different things. There's mentorship, which is also that's kind of what I do on another thing. But like you've got all these different ways. For the individual is like, oh, I think I'll just try and work it out and go alone. What kind of guidance would you say to that?
I'd say you're going to work really hard and take a very long trip to nowhere.
Mm,
Because I've been there, done it. And I am not casting stones from a glass house. I have been running the track for most of my life alone, isolated, not communicating, thinking I've got this figured out. I'd go to a therapist and I'd be like, this isn't helping. Well, I wasn't in a place to be helped at that time. And so and I was like, I've got this. I can do it. I know what it's like to live with masks on and appear to be what you perceive someone wanting from you. And it is exhausting, exhausting with limited to no positive end result. And it could be, I mean, I think walking is fabulous. I think exercise and movement and all of those things have a positive contribution, but it's a contribution to the end result in the journey. Other things have to be part of that. And it's a learning process. I'm a very spiritual person. I rely very heavily on my faith. I'm grateful for that. And I am respectful of all religions and all faiths. I and I encourage if that's the journey and what in their own spirituality that they're taking in that moment, that's not me, it's them. And that's why I say choose you first. I don't want somebody to emulate me. I want them to be the best version of themselves. I just want to be part of the solution and telling my story and giving opportunities for people to direct into other resources. You've got, and let's say that you are not financially able to do certain things. There are in the United States, there's public opportunities for learning and resources, libraries, different things along that lines. If you don't have internet, also the internet's always great to look for motivational opportunities and growth in certain areas that you want to focus in. But don't get overwhelmed with it all. Just take a single step. Again, everybody just wants to get to the end. It takes a lot of steps. And so if you just take that step, I like to watch great things. I like to feed my brain with inspirational things, from all walks of life. I can learn from everyone. Every single person has something to contribute. Everyone. And so I take those opportunities in creating positivity in my life. And I want other people to know everyone can do that.
No, I love what you said there about, there's opportunities for all of us out there in terms of both the free uh, and the opportunity to work with like coaches like yourself or communities as well, which is really, really empowering to kind of be around those people. For me, I know it's kind of like it depends where I am in life as well. Like sometimes someone will be right for me, like a coach or a group, and then other times different. I don't know if you found a similar experience depending where you're in life as well.
1,000%.
Mm.
We are constantly changing chapters,
Mm.
new seasons of life, where we're at. And sometimes in that, we lose the people that we previously were with because they're not in the same space that you're at and not in the same path and direction of life in which you're trying to achieve. Sometimes that can be really difficult because it's hard to reach outside your box. Those to stretch yourself into areas and say, and then also the racket that we tell ourselves of judgment from others and how it will hold you back because a lot of times people like to be uncomfortable in their comfortable. That's their normal. And they can be uncomfortable in stretching outside of their comfort and actually travel such a different path in a small period of time, just with moments of changes of positive things that you might be implementing in other areas. If you want to focus on your weight, I mean, I chose that for my health. I had had breast cancer. Am a long haul COVID survivor during the pandemic, and spent 3 weeks in the ICU fighting for my life. I had tremendous high blood pressure, and I made a choice for me that I no longer wanted to live that life. And I've lost over 112 pounds, and I'm a 5 foot woman. So that's a lot. But I'm not on blood pressure medicine any longer. I'm moving. I have so much more that I never knew that I was limiting myself by being held down by that weight. And people are like, well, what exactly does that mean? I'm like, it comes from the inside. I had been keeping this armor through many, many years of self-protection, of me thinking I've got it all by myself. And I was a warrior, and clearly I was a defeated tin man because I just was weighted down with all of this. And I made a decision to choose me first and shed years, decades of all sorts of things that was holding that weight in. I thought I was protecting my heart, but living in my heart and knowing what love of others truly is in the freedom of authenticity is it's like flying. And it's amazing. And it does start from inside.
You mentioned like living from the heart and authentically there. I know again, going back to there's a lot of noise around and constantly. What do you find helps you connect to your heart?
One is my spirituality. I am definitely centered in my breath and in my energy.
Hmm.
I know for me, those moments of stillness and when you don't know what to do nothing is a very powerful thing because it allows you to reset. And resetting's just fine. You That's fine. People need reset. They've got a reset button on every piece of equipment I know. Why on earth shouldn't we have a button within ourselves to say, I've just been through all of this. I need to press the reset button. And again, having that self-love of acceptance in your own imperfection. And when you fall, you make a choice to get up from that because you still have the foundation of your own self of authenticity. You don't have to put on the armor. You don't have to put on all these masks, which weights you down. You just live within your own self. And there is a tremendous amount of freedom because you're not pretending, you're not acting. It's exhausting to do that. And you accept that others may not quite accept you for that. And that's okay. Everyone's entitled to how they feel. That's their racket. So they can choose that, but you can't let that deter you and stop you from moving forward in your own commitment to yourself, to being and living your best you.
Mm. Authenticity, keyword there, and truth
Love,
and love. Yeah.
art, vulnerable. Terrible. I used to be so not vulnerable. Now I'm like in the confidence of my own self.
Mm.
I've through now these years, I'm here talking and trying to help with the joy in my heart of other people in the world to being able to recognize how powerful this is for one's life, how important, how all of the negativity can actually manifest itself in physicality of illness, of, internal garbage and outside. There's nothing outside that isn't going to the outside gives you like immediate gratification. But then it's like a dopamine and then it wears off. So if you have that constant base within yourself, then you never get wobbled in it. You're in acceptance of it. You're just in complete acceptance. And there's a freedom in that.
Mm. Love it. It's you're not, and you also touched on when you live from that place of truth, um, and who you are. It's not always accepted by people, but the right people, I believe, do accept it and do love you for it as well.
Mhm.
I've had examples of it going both ways. I've had examples of uh, losing out on business opportunities with someone, and I've had opportunities when someone's like, I've said something against the mass, and then it's like, I'm so glad you said that, so it can work both ways. But do you know what the commonality was? I felt good to me because it's trusting me. It's saying, I believe in me. I trust you to do what's right. So yeah, it's a really
Johnny, that
important
makes me, I'm
message.
serious. I'm smiling from ear to ear. You get it. It's true. That is exactly it. It's like, hey, however it happens, I'm going to accept it, but this is me and I'm solid in it
Mm,
and let it fly.
mm, absolutely. Yeah, and the authenticity piece being key. And the love and the joy. Michelle, before we kind of wrap up, I just wanted to go back onto something that you touched on around um, most people are comfortable. I think it was comfortable and uncomfortable at the same time. Just wanted to touch a little bit on what you meant by that because we talk about a lot of times there's like the comfort zone talks about it, particularly in personal growth, and it's like, oh, you're going to be uncomfortable coming out of it, which I agree with, like or moving towards things. But when you said about being comfortable and uncomfortable at the moment, I just wanted to hear a little bit more about that.
That's that's interesting because I I think that happens so often throughout our day. Have you ever imagined just walking into a place and not knowing where anything is in the grocery store? and it's a new grocery store. It's like, okay, this is comfortable because you're in a grocery store and you know you want an apple or wherever, but you're
Mm,
not sure where it is or how to check out or where exactly to go. So you're kind of uncomfortable in it, but you're in a comfortable setting. And so those are the types of feelings I'm talking about, and they can magnify depending upon the circumstance that you are in at that
mm,
moment. Uh, I will say that uh, public speaking, I'm that is something I love to be able to reach out to the masses to. But I will tell you that in the moment of right before, my heart always goes da, 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 because I'm uncomfortable as I've previously been masked in a more of a public setting. So this is truly authentically me. So my own head goes through that like self racket. And I'm like, and I just take that jump into the deep end and say, this is it. And so I'm uncomfortable in the uncomfortable, but I get to stretch myself so that over time I am comfortable. And so I get to actually stretch that box of comfort to a whole different level. And that's what people should choose to do as opposed to being uncomfortable in the box of comfort.
mm, mm,
And we accept things in our lives that maybe we'd like to change.
mm,
And let's say somebody has an opinion and you don't agree with that, but you feel uncomfortable responding to it or sharing who you are. But in that foundation is as you change to what your true authentic self is, and you become more stretching to say, I do have a thought process on this. I'm going to deliver it in a constructive manner, and I'm going to accept whatever the end result is, but I'm stretching myself in this comfort box, and it's uncomfortable.
mm. I've got you. So it's, yeah, it's like a discomfort, but we put up with it in quite a few cases, rather than going into the other discomfort where there's an opportunity for change that you want in your life. Got you. No.
Have you ever like, it seems like one of those big words, change,
Mm,
the fear of change. I mean, and that is one thing also that is so permanent in life, isn't it?
yeah, it's
You're
inevitable. It's always going to
constantly,
happen. Yeah.
yeah, it's going to happen whether or not you want it or not.
Mm,
That's just that's the reality. So being able to accept it, and then once you reach an acceptance of it, to embrace it and thrive in it is that's where you get the wind beneath your wings and say, I'm okay because I'm still me.
mm,
And I'm choosing me in every situation. And it's easy because you're authentic in it.
mm, mm. It's always inevitable.
Yeah, it is.
It's like you've changed. Well, yeah, I'm a human being. But as the phrase goes, yeah. Michelle, thank you. I want to thank you for being on today and appreciate your time and everything you've shared. I know there's a ton more work you offer people out there, and your services, and obviously you got your book. Uh, Choose you first. Well, yeah. First of all, before we leave, where can we find you if the listener wants to reach out to you? And is there any final message you want to share with us today?
Uh, well, I would like to say it has been an absolute pleasure spending this time with you. And also, I want to thank everyone to listening and taking the time to doing that as well. And that just shows that step in humanity of wanting to improve whatever you want to be the best you. And to get a hold of me, I have my own website, which is bishoplife.com. And I also have a newsletter with podcasts and other blogs and different types of information that could be helpful to and inspirational to others. That's a great way. And then I am on Instagram as well, and I'm on Michelle Bishop Life and also Facebook. So I try to always kind of stay in touch, and I love the feedback because my desire and commitment is to actually have this incredible community that outreaches way past just our own box. And I would like to conclude with saying how grateful I am to being proud of not just myself, but really it's about everyone else that is willing to take the risk of what life essentially could be by making these changes and making a difference. Because when you make a difference within yourself, you can and you will make a difference in others that is profoundly giving.
Mm. Taking that risk to your life and the payoff of that. So, Michelle, thank you so much for coming on today. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Johnny.
So, that concludes our episode for today. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.